on today is Virgo, and let's do it. Oh, your mother tongue is English. I see. I see. I kind of like feel ashamed that I don't speak French, but as you know, this is a big commitment. It takes basically years to get there. So Virgos, you have a new moon and you have childhood, innocence. I actually really like this card over here. So just to see. Andy, I have to get together with you and practice my French. That's going to be my project. So we have solar plexus chakra for you and authority. This is really interesting that these two actually came out together, because solar plexus chakra is, my dear Virgos, all about authority. It is all about how we really apply it. So there is a little glitch over here that basically needs to be worked on. I'm going to talk more about it. I'm just wondering what else, did I have anything else other than these decks? Express your love over here. And I think these are the decks I had the last time. That would be awesome. I just, thank you so much. Lava Bounce. Ugh. Okay, I see why is the team like this and feeling alone. So my dear Virgo, you are going to have a really karmic year. So Virgo is represented with Hermit in Tarot. Hermit carries number 9. And we are going into 2023, so 2 and 2 and 3 are 7. So 9 is the number of achievement, if I can put it simplistically like that. So if you didn't do well over the previous 8 years, you're going to be quote unquote punished. And if you did well, then you're going to be highly rewarded. And so now let's combine this with the number 7. 9 and 7, 16. 16 is Tower. And Tower always gets us into position where we have to shake down foundations, right? So you're always going to have the intensity about this year. So it's not only 7 year for you, but it's 16 year for you, which means that anything that is wobbly, which means friends, family, a house where you live, whatever you're doing, it will collapse if it's not placed on proper foundations already. And I can see that because you're going to be highly rattled over here, highly, and this is why your solar plexus appear this way that it is. So lava bounce, but it's reversed, and feeling alone, it's here. So these two, like the Ace and 5, are 6. The year is going to be about love, but more than anything else, it's going to be about self-love. I have a feeling, my dear Virgos, since you're very kind of like process-oriented, that maybe you have neglected yourself in the process. And this year, let it be for you to address this love with you. Because if you love yourself, guys, guess what? You're not going to let yourself down. It's always going to be there. So it is actually a really good way of kind of like processing this. Let me just pull this a little bit more. So I'm seeing finally the screen, and just to make sure you see all the cards, at least kind of like the idea. So childhood is also coming out for that reason. You also have Express Your Love, which says go ahead and make the romantic gesture. So what is basically happening in all of that? Like, this is the major arcana. So major arcana appearances are always talking about things that are very intense, things that really need to be addressed, and there's like no escape from it. So this could mean that you'll be running into people who are blasting you, who are rude, who are not letting you pass through, who are very authoritarian, domineering, or you might become like one. Like, you will wonder like why you have such a short fuse. And this is where this analysis that you guys really excel at should really come in. Right? So this is like what really needs to happen here, that you need to figure out, okay, if I am behaving this way, or if I am meeting people like that, what is in me that triggers this? Am I having some kind of codependency issues, or do I have some kind of like childhood trauma that for years it has been trauma, it has been mental health problem, which in the society we live in, mental health problems are addressed like with ignorance and with ignoring it. And then when it becomes anger, then you are the problem. So all along, we are not getting help that we really need to. So there's like something that happened to you in your childhood, because both of them to me are almost the same. New moon, like, right? It's the birth, it's something starting, and childhood is the starting. It really, really strongly tells me that something has happened, because this is one of my favorite cards, this innocence of the childhood over here. However, like, I mean, this is like really idyllic. Not many of us really go through some ideal conditions, and there are like things that might need to be addressed. So this is the thing about love. This is the thing about staying away from the situations where you really shouldn't be, right? Because let's think about the new moon. Like, we have a couple here in this new moon. It's not just like showing that is appearing in the sky. So this is kind of like that sliver that we see, and many of us don't really kind of like pay attention, right? So here, kind of like we have that appearance. So it is time to launch a project. There is like, guys, something that you really wanted. Maybe you felt insecure. Maybe you felt bullied. Like, this is kind of like really showing. You need to have that intention. You have been putting something for a later date. So with your intention and willingness to kind of like allow this kind of like full cycle to complete, kind of like you are going to manifest some kind of like desires in this upcoming year, right? So the seed of that idea is actually now ready. If you don't seize this opportunity, not gonna happen. The time is now. If nothing else that you remember from this reading, remember that. So the next step is to put into action what is required to fully realize that idea. So it's kind of like really on to you. Are you going to still play the game with sweaty palms that everybody will know you don't have it, or you're going to take a chance? You are doing that for you, right? So this is also called promise, which is really interesting, because the promise has two meanings. It can be a commitment and guarantee to yourself or someone else that a particular thing will happen, or it can imply that something really specific is expected to happen, right? So your will is going to be aligned with the will of spirit, of God, whatever is your position like with the universe, right? So you basically will have this focus. Guess what? Like, the Hermit card has this focus. He just doesn't care about the outside influence. It's kind of like completely pulled in. And this is not about loneliness. This is not about feeling alone. You need to kind of like understand that aloneness is the time we really, really give to ourselves. You really need to express your love. Maybe you had people who have been kind to you that you were not able to do anything, or you couldn't have. It almost like looks to me that even as an adult, you're sometimes acting as a child. You maybe want to get your way without realizing that maybe something has been loving which you couldn't comprehend. Maybe something has been happening. This card, why I love it, because if you see, look at these rays, like just like shining down of these like children, just like a spotlight. So this little girl is almost like reaching out to this kind of like beams. And so the elements over here are portraying that idyllic childhood. I'm sorry to say, Virgo, I don't think you had one, and something has been moved in you. Your ability to process, like, it's kind of like a puzzle. It should be like 50-50 when we meet somebody else, and each of us is a combination of different puzzles, and each puzzle can trigger the puzzles in the other being, right? But in your case, you don't have that half. You have way less. You have the spots that need to be filled, and you can only fill it with basically love toward yourself. Because innocence is not simply the lack of guilt or shame, but it's a basically quality in itself, right? it's kind of like something that we naturally have when we come into this existence, but along the way we kind of like lose it, right? So there are challenges that you basically face throughout your life that have shaped your personality and character. Maybe you want to see if you want to chip that dirt outside, whatever you want to call it, and kind of like shine this diamond that really exists, because there is like clearly a core innocence that you can reawaken by releasing possibly the shame that has basically covered over the truth of the matter or truth of who you are. So take any opportunity to heal this shame or to heal whatever has happened to you. Just release it. People say you need to forget and forgive. I just don't think this works, because you're forcing yourself in a stage where maybe you need to kind of like focus more on loving yourself, and eventually you're going to build that really circle of green, circle of pink around you, which is that energy field that people will not be able to penetrate. So my dear Virgo, I really hope and I wish you all success along this year to kind of like achieve what you want to achieve. Do not forget to love yourself. It is there and it is a must for you to do. If you miss this opportunity, who knows when it's going to come. Sometimes you will need to burn the bridges. Sometimes, like, you know, when you have an alcoholic, for example, you have to leave everything behind. And this is what is difficult, right? I myself going through detox, which is not only physical but spiritual. I'm now realizing triggers that I have, and triggers are basically worse than actually doing the wrong thing. So address this, move forward, and love yourself. I really hope things really work for you, my dear Virgo. And if you want your own personal thing, which goes in more depth, please contact me at my email, mysticcattero@gmail.com. And as we are closing this 2022, please let me indulge you for just yet another minute. I want to thank you for being here. If you're old, if you're new, it doesn't matter. It has been, wow, 5 years already. So thank you so much for being here with me and listening to my forecasts. Coming in the future, I might have a little bit different format, because I have been feeling this transformation coming onto me. I have been seeking for something new, but it just felt like that I was meant to be a little bit suppressed for a reason that was not really clear to me. I thought must be aging or something, but now I'm actually starting to see the reasons, and I'm going to discuss it in the future. Just one more time, guys, I wish that you join us on live, which I have on Saturdays. It's 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so both Europeans and the West Coast can join. And you know what? We also have Australia, we have India. It's freaking bloody awesome. And lastly, you know the spiel. If you want to get notifications from me, please subscribe and click on that bell thing. If you want a reading with me, contact me directly via my website, cattarot.ca, or contact me via my email. I personally respond, mysticcattaro@gmail.com. Love you, and I wish you a wonderful new year.